The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I had the zechut to learn by Rebbes that really have respect for one another. I'll tell you one or two stories about my Rosh Yeshiva in Lakewood, in the Lakewood Yeshiva. His name is Rabbi Olshin, Rabbi Yerucham Olshin. Now, he's a very, very big rabbi. He learns Torah all day. He knows basically everything, and he has thousands of students. Lakewood Yeshiva is over 10,000 students. Tons and tons of people. So when I was younger, I was zochet to learn by him. When I was already 16, 17, I already started learning by him. One time, as I was sitting with him, it was during the break, during the summer, so yeshiva was over, and I will learn with him in the afternoon in yeshiva. So first of all, the fact that he learned with me when I was 16 years old, such a busy person like him, is a tremendous thing, but he learned with me. So we're sitting and we're learning in yeshiva. Suddenly an old man, clean-shaven guy, with the walking thing, walked in. I see my Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yerucham Olshin, jump out of the chair. I was like, what in the world? Chacham, they just walked in. What was that all about? Rabbi Yerucham jumps up. He runs over to him and he tells him, Rebbe. Ends up being that old man was Rabbi Olshin's Rebbe a long, long time ago. And I asked him, how many years was he your Rebbe? He said, only for the summer, 1 year he was my Rebbe. But because he taught me Torah, I have akarat tov. I appreciate what he did for me and I always want to respect him. And as he was meeting his Rebbe, so I walked with my Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yerucham Olshin, to meet him. And the old man, his Rebbe, was asking, my Rebbe, Rabbi Olshin, he was asking, who is this guy over there? He was pointing to me, who is this guy? So Rabbi Olshin, the big Rosh Yeshiva, tells him, this is just my friend. He's one of my friends, whatever. He didn't say, this is my student, He said, no, this is just one of my friends. And it was so natural for him to say that. He's just one of my friends, one of my chaverim sheli. That comes from humbleness. You know where that comes from? That comes from a person that learned Torah for real. Learn Torah, but learn Torah for real. He became a real person in his lev. And I'll tell you another story. One time, we had a very big levaya in the yeshiva. Very big funeral. We had buses that came in from Muncie, from Brooklyn to Lakewood. Tons and tons of schools came in. Besides that, a big part of Lakewood came. So there was major traffic in the city in Lakewood. Major traffic, and then the funeral was inside the yeshiva. So I wanted to see what my Rebbe, Rabbi Olshin, is going to do. So I already reserved my spot. I went early in the morning after Shachrit. I already stood over there where the funeral was going to be, in the back of the Bet Midash. Because I knew it's going to be no room even to stand, and that's what it was. You couldn't even breathe in there. There were thousands of people already in the street. My Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yerucham Olshin, was supposed to be one of the speakers by the funeral. But he came late. I see him walk inside the Bet Midash. Now he's all the way in the back, because that's where the door is. He couldn't get to the front. There were way too many people. You can hardly move. So if I was a good student, what I should have done is run and say, the Rosh Yeshiva is here, move aside. But I wanted to see what he's going to do. It was a bad boy. I said, I want to see what my Rebbe is going to do. I'm standing for a few minutes and I see him for at least a minute. He's going like this. Like he's trying to think, how can I squeeze myself in? And I think to myself, why doesn't he just say the word, excuse me? What, you can't say the word, excuse me? People will turn around, see you, the rabbi, and move aside. But he didn't. He just went like this, trying to... Suddenly an old man comes, from like left field. An old man comes and says, cover that Torah, you got to respect that Torah, Rosh Yeshiva. Then everyone starts turning around and they see the big rabbis behind them. Everyone started moving aside, like Kirat Yam Suf, and then the Rosh Yeshiva to go through. And as he was going through, I literally saw it with my own eyes. As he was going through, he went to this, sorry, Mechila, I'm sorry. Can you imagine saying that? Sorry, until you get there. After the funeral, I asked him, why didn't you say the word excuse me? You can't say the word excuse me? Listen to what he tells me. He tells me, Yaakov, who am I to tell others excuse me? Do you hear those words? Who am I to tell others excuse me and move because I want to go to the front? Listen to those words. A Rosh Yeshiva, a person who's alive right now, look how he respects other human beings. Who am I to say, excuse me, I'm the Rosh Yeshiva, please move? I'm not going to be matriach. I'm not going to make everybody move around just for me because I'm the Rosh Yeshiva. Do you know what that means? That's a person that learns Torah ad 120 shana. That's a person that learned and learns Torah, and his heart is there. He's a real person. That's ben adam lechavero. When I made my first siyum on Masechet Ketuvot, I was pretty young. I was very excited about it. I finished my first Gemara. It was a big deal. I finished with Baruch Hashem. It's always a big deal, It's always a big deal. But when the first one, it was like we were at a big party. So you wanted to make a kiddush Shabbat day. I already went to the shower. It was already Friday afternoon. I go to the shower. Then I go to my room, I'm getting dressed. My mother screams, Yaakov, Yaakov, Yesh Rav Gadol Baderet, there's a very big rabbi by the door. I was like, Rav Gadol, an hour before Shabbos? Who's coming to my door? What's going on? I got dressed very fast. I go to the front. Who do I see by the front door? I see the Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Yerucham Olshin, with his wife, with a hot baked cake for my Kiddush Shabbat day, because I finished Masechet Kiddush, I did a Siyum. And he doesn't drive, and his wife doesn't drive. So how do they get around? Either their children trying to go shopping, or they use a taxi. That Friday he used a taxi. Why did he use a taxi? Because he told me he doesn't want to call his daughters and his sons an hour before Shabbat. Take me to this guy's house. Who am I to make my sons do that? They're my daughters. So they took a taxi. An hour before Shabbat, where Shishiva of Lakewood is busy with the hot cake for Yaakov Rahimi because he finished Zayat Tuvot and he took a taxi. That's Ben Adam Lechav. That's a person that thinks about others. That's how we build the Bet HaMikdash. With such acts, that's how you build the Bet HaMikdash. Caring for one another. The love, the heart has to be to help out other Jews. Thinking about one another. Learning Torah, more Torah, and more Torah, and more Torah with the love, with the heart. That's how we're going to build the Bet HaMikdash.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org